Welcome to Toxic Google. I'm Kevin Valk.
And I'm Dana Han-Klein.
And today we're welcoming the cast of Warner Bros. New movie, Entourage. So you know them as Ari, Vincent Chase, Eric Murphy, and Turtle. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Google, Jeremy Piven, Adrian Grenier, Kevin Connolly, Jerry Ferrara, and director, creator, writer, producer, Doug Ellin.
Take a seat. We'll go back row.
I'm bugging out. They are.
They're rowdy. I like them already.
Alrighty. So welcome to Google, guys. Such a great job in the movie, so let's give a round of applause for that. It's a great film. You know, Doug, you did such a great job of giving each character kind of their own subplot that fed into Vince's, and it was really, really good, and catching the audience up to exactly where they needed to be if they hadn't seen the series, but if they did, kind of getting them up to date with their characters. So kind of want to go through all you guys and talk about how the evolution of your characters over the series, right into the movie. And Turtle, I kind of want to start with you, Jerry. You're always probably the slowest character to kind of evolve throughout the series. But no.
Oh, Turtle. He's a turtle.
First of all, I sat in the back row so you didn't call on me first. That was my plan, and you just blew me up. So continue.
I got notes from the studio and said otherwise. No, but you're the biggest growth throughout the series, especially once it hit, season 6 about, and your, kind of world exploded with, meeting up with Mark Cuban. So can you talk about the evolution of your characters?
Yeah, I think, I also think he maybe had the most room to grow. If you look at Turtle in season 1, he was negotiating with a girl to make out with him, and he'll show her what Vince eats breakfast in the morning, to chasing after Ronda Rousey in the movie. And also he was making $200 a week as the driver, and then sold a tequila company with Mark Cuban and made millions of dollars. It's one of my favorite lines. Kevin Dillon as Johnny Drama shockingly says, "Turtle's a millionaire?" And it kind of plays itself out in the movie where he gets caught in this romantic or business angle with Rhonda. And Doug has done an amazing job evolutionizing. That's not a word, I know. Turtle.
We got smart people here.
Great crowd, by the way. Great. I know. I can't slip words I make up by you guys. That's not fair.
Adrian, how about
that? Jerry's disrupting the vocabulary, isn't he? Well, one thing that Vince is supposed to do is be a solid, steadfast leader for the rest of the guys. He's the example, is the rock, and he is sort of this, this grounding, he's the grounded part that all of the other guys swirl around. So, I've always really enjoyed bringing that aspect of the character, this Zen-like quality, this nonchalance, and really his evolution is in his career, and of course in the movie now, he not only wants to act but also to direct, and that seems like the last thing an agent wants to hear their client declare, but really sets the whole movie in motion.
Beautiful segue into Mr. Jeremy Piven over here with Ari Gold.
Yeah. All right. These are my people, man. This is my demographic right here. I love it.
Ask for stock.
Exactly. If you guys only knew what a caveman I was, I mean, I'm on a keypad. I'm just a disaster. So it's pathetic. Ari had basically one scene in the pilot, a really great season, a great moment with Kevin Connolly with E at Koi, and he was seemingly a complete and utter pig that was cheating on his wife with a Sports Illustrated model. But the reality was, Doug, was that a mistake, or did you know that he was going to be? What happened with that?
I never thought we'd go past the pilot, so I just
there you go.
I just wrote the funniest line I could come up with,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, if this guy's this bad a guy, it's not going to be great.
And obviously we cast Perry Reeves as Mrs. Ari, and she crushed it. Yeah, amazing. And Ari is one of these guys who will do it's by any means necessary to get the job done. He is a rageaholic and very reactive, and is an equal opportunity offender, and says the unsayable. And I think that's one of the reasons why people love him. by the end of the series, he realized that the things that meant the most to him in this life were his wife and family. So he was willing to give up his livelihood for it, which you never thought Ari would ever do. And that's where we pick up, with him at the movie. And he is continuously trying to evolve, and that's what I thought was brilliant about the movie, was like doing a spirituality tape. Having Ari Gold attempting to be spiritual is ridiculous and was really, really fun to play. And Doug, just the look of horror as I was destroying a $250,000 Mercedes,
Jeremy has broken a lot of things on the set. We kind of try to bring fake computers and stuff, but they don't look good. He's throwing them across the floor. And you know what? He really does. He gets so into it and immerses himself, really, really deep, and it's incredible to watch. So.
And how about you, just for the writing process with the creating of the characters, Doug, and kind of their evolution?
Well, I mean, evolution, it's a funny thing because the critics always want to talk evolution and actors really want to talk evolution. But for me, this is a show about childhood best friends. And really, as you guys know, most of them don't change that much. You usually go, wow, he's the same as he was then. There's a couple. I mean, Jerry screwed me. I mean, Jerry went and got himself in shape. Now he's this handsome guy. There's no doubt what. There's no doubt
Doug.
when I was casting Turtle, it was like, okay, I need a funny fat guy. So, so then when we start getting into the movie, Jerry and I are having lunch, and Jerry is not eating anything again. And I'm like, Jerry, you got to eat some lunch. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you're going to put on 100 pounds, right? We're going to get you back. And the truth is, he did have the most room for growth, and it's been an amazing thing to see. I mean, Jerry was so much younger than everybody else. When we started. But for everybody else, their stories definitely have growth and evolve. But I think at the end of the day, Ari was always this really good family man who just has a big mouth, but he is a loyal guy and he'll kill for him. And these guys too. So their stories may change, but at the end of the day, their core to me is the same. And I think the movie is almost a reset. I hope you never had to see an episode to start this movie and go, okay, I get what this is. And either you go along for the ride or you don't. So.
Very much so. Kevin?
Well, when I was coming up the stairs, I tripped. Is there any way that we could keep that off the internet? It's never going to happen, right? I should just accept that I'm going to be looking at that.
Kevin, it's already on the internet.
I literally tripped and almost fell on my face, and it was embarrassing.
We need more of that. By the way, I will push you down the stairs because we need a viral moment so badly.
I know. I saw a couple cameras. I'm hoping they were stills, but I was literally on my face on the stairs coming up. So if you be kind, be cautious, please. Thank you. No, my character's been trying to evolve for years, but now he's having a baby, so it's about as evolved as you can get. So hopefully he'll grow up a little bit, but we'll see.
So as you mentioned, it's been a while since the pilot, and it's been 11 years since you guys first stepped into these roles, and you're bringing in a new audience to this film, but you're also honoring the audience that loved and watched all of the show when it was on. What were some of the things that you had to, you took care with to bring in the new audience? We watched it with some people who hadn't seen any of the series before last night, and they loved it.
That's
so
great.
You succeeded. But
I mean, I looked at the script when I started and said, yeah, there's things that we have to clean up from the show for fans, but really just get into this as quickly as possible. I don't want to spend a lot of time on Vince got married and what happened and Ari retired. Okay, he's a type A guy. These types of guys all the time, they say, you know what, I'm going to pack it all up, and then they end up coming right back, So it was very, very important. The Piers Morgan thing was obviously a device to catch people up. I needed something. Piers was great and made it very credible and real. But, it's at the end of the day, the show's about working class guys who made it big and get to live in this fantasy land. At the end of the day, they really care about each other more than they care about all the toys and stuff. So I think that's an easy thing to latch onto. And if you like the characters, you go along with it. So.
was it easy to slip back into these characters? It's been a reasonable amount of time since the series ended. And did you guys find that you were just as comfortable today as you were?
I mean, I couldn't wait. I mean, I live in New York, so I miss these guys. And, I was really just anxious for us all to get back together and be in our characters, because really, acting is reacting, and when you're working off, Jeremy and all these other characters, and you see Johnny Drama, it's really easy just to respond to that and be present.
I mean, you touched upon this a little bit, where there's something really special about these characters that they all grew up from nothing, came from nothing, and they're extremely relatable. And I love that the juxtaposition with Haley Joel Osment's character in the movie, where he's like the heir of his father's family, and he's this entitled brat. So what's the secret of keeping these characters relatable, even though the crazy stuff from Ari and E making the mistakes, but you still like them?
I think the thing that makes you love these guys, aside from obviously these actors are likable, it's an intangible that you have to cast. But Ari goes home to his wife and kids every night. My son plays his son, so I like that he does that. But and these guys. And they say it and they do it with action. It's more important that they look out for each other than they get a Ferrari. So yeah, all the toys are there because it is a wish fulfillment. We want people to watch this and go, wow, that's a great life and I'd love to live it. But more importantly, I'd love to live it with my friends that really can't afford to do that, And it's how I grew up, and it's really how all of us kind of grew up. And I'm still best friends with the kids that I was friends with from kindergarten on. So, and a lot of them, some of them, I have friends who've made fortunes, and I have friends who, work as policemen and do all sorts of things. And when we get together, there's no difference. It's the same dynamics that we had, and that's what I really want with these guys.
So this question is for Jeremy and Doug. Ari Gold is a historic, cinematic figure now. Is there, how much of it is written in advance? How much of it is Jeremy improving? One of my favorite scenes involved a picture frame and a very innocent looking kitten.
That's my cat.
I'm sorry. How much room is there to play on set, and how much of it is written in advance to be true to the character?
Well, I mean, it's all of our jobs to make the written word seem improvisational. That's what we do. That's what we love to do. And so Doug, takes a long time to write this, and we honor those words. And if something comes up, I come from an improv background, and so I do love to mix it up. But this is really about making those words come to life. So the stuff with the kitten, all that is absolutely written. I'm not an insane person that just decides to smash a glass kitten in the middle of a scene. You know what I mean? Actually, I probably would do that.
I'd definitely do that.
Yeah. But no, we had 8 or 10 breakaway glasses, glass cases, and I just went to town, and it was just cathartic.
But usually, and with all of them, I mean, we'll do a take that's exactly like the script, and then I'll go, you got any ideas? But more importantly, they'll usually call me up the night before. I got a line, I got an idea. And then Jeremy, the biggest thing Jeremy always does, which has given us some amazing moments, is end of takes. He'll just throw things in. Because, like that scene in the psychiatrist's office, he's got a 2.5 page monologue. For him to start improvising in the middle of that would be mind-boggling if he could do that, So I think it's really those end of moments where he comes up with. We'll try it.
Gauntlet thrown.
But we try to get the script, especially because we shot this in 34 days, which I don't know if you guys know, but that is a really short. Really short thing. So, and we have a lot of dialogue. The script was 160 pages. A typical comedy is usually 105, maybe. So we got to move and move and move. So.
I gotcha. And so, Adrian and Kevin, I kind of want to talk about your guys' relationship because it's almost very brotherly. I mean, I know you're obviously your characters, brothers with drama in the film, but you guys are almost like brothers too. It seems like. So, can you talk a little bit about that relationship and how that's kind of played out?
Well, I think I was managing his Sbarros before Vince moved me out to California. But obviously, it was probably a dynamic that started in our childhood where he sort of trusted my judgment and sort of knew that I have, or it turns out maybe don't have such great taste in material. I've definitely steered him down the wrong road a few times with Medellin and Queens Boulevard, to name a few. But I think more than anything, there's just a trust there, and I think that Vince knows that at the end of the day, E has his best interest in mind.
Yeah, and something happened in the movie where suddenly E is more of the sex symbol than Vince, and we've been joking about whether or not Doug was mad at me or Kevin.
I was like, Doug, what did I do? He's like, what?
And then I called
naked the whole movie.
I was like, Doug,
starving.
Don't scare people off. You're not naked the whole movie.
But yeah, I mean, we are the straight men. We're sort of part of what drives the story forward because our solid grounding is sort of what gets these boys going and keeps the bucks coming in.
So one of my other favorite storylines in this was with Ronda Rousey, because she is a badass. So was that role written explicitly with her in mind? You know, you've had some great people come in and play versions of themselves, but she is, I think, a unique appearance in the Entourage universe. And what was it like fighting her, or trying to almost fight her?
Well, you want to start with how she...
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, initially, everyone saw the movie, but, right? Or, I don't know. But, so initially, she was the Army Hammer role. Like, Rhonda really, I mean, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years when we cast her, she was a very different place than she is today. So she was kind of a little unknown. I mean, to the real fighting crowd, they knew her, but really not. So initially, she was going to be the one that was like threatening Vince. Like, I thought it was a funny idea to have Vince. And then Jerry and I were at lunch. And I think, honestly, it was like at the same moment that we thought this would be a perfect thing for him. Like, there's something that just seemed like a perfect combination. And I had never even met her, but we said it, and then we set a lunch with her. We had a lunch with her, and weirdly enough, she had just started randomly watching the show at a training session. So she was up to, I don't know, Jerry, like season 5?
Yeah, something like that.
So, and then we went to lunch, and they immediately had a really cool chemistry, and so Jerry can take it from there.
Yeah, I was a big fan of hers way before she came on to do the Entourage movie, and it was weird with shooting with her because we did all this stuff, and again, I don't want to give too much away for those who haven't seen it, but we did all the non-physical stuff first, so I'm getting to know her as just Rhonda the person, and she's this really sweet, charming, intelligent woman, and I wasn't getting it. I was like, how is she this? I can't imagine how she could be as intimidating as people think. And then we did the stuff in the cage, and I saw her face change from like, oh, this is Rhonda the person, to Rhonda, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Jerry's face changed real quick too.
Honestly, in terms of acting, it didn't really take a whole lot to react to her charging across the ring and giving me a front kick to the stomach. And she actually recommended, there's a little bit of a flip in the movie where she flips me, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to try to be a part of all the stunts and all that. And she said, Jerry, listen, you're not the biggest guy in the world. I've broken guys' ribs before who are a lot bigger than you. And I just looked over at the stuntman, and in my mind, he was having like a coffee, and I think I grabbed his coffee and I tagged him in, and he got his ribs probably broken. But she's also won 3 fights, I think, since the time we started shooting the movie, and she's just an incredible person.
And you can also, as a man, you want to believe that you can beat her up. I mean,
but you can't.
And Kevin Dillon was sitting there. He's like, bro, I could take her, you know?
No, he cannot.
And Wahlberg walked in, and I forget. Wahlberg said something like, "You look like Clint Eastwood in what's that movie where he was like mean to everybody." But anyway, Dillon. I think Dillon, until he saw Jerry there, he was being serious. I think he was like, because he'd never seen her fight. And then just when you see the movement that this really is, I mean, she was just on the cover of Sports Illustrated, as the most dominant athlete in the world. It's amazing to watch. And the transformation, like he says, in her personality is incredible. So.
And something weird's happened now. Anytime I watch a fight of hers, I turn into Adrian from the Rocky movies. I'm like in the crowd, like at home, like crying at the TV, just praying that she wins her fight. I turn into Adrian from the Rocky movies when I watch her fight now.
Your money's on her over Mayweather, right? If she actually fights him?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. That's where mine is. So, I think anybody and everybody in Hollywood wants to be in an Entourage episode, movie, everything. At what point do you have to start saying no to people? Like, it takes place in Hollywood, so it's awesome that you are able to integrate so many awesome cameos, but...
Just like everyone who wants to buy tickets, we will say no to no one. I mean, anyone, we got calls, we're on the set, and I get a call that Clay Matthews from the Green Bay Packers is in town, and he's got a wedding, but it's his favorite show. He's willing to miss the wedding if we can find something for him. I'm like, all right, come on down, so...
It's like a fire sale. Come on down.
We packed it in, and the truth is, some people go, what's with all the cameos? That's the life that Mark Wahlberg leads. He, when the movie was finished, I called him up. I said, I'm going to bring it to your house to show it to you. I get there, and Kevin Durant answers the door. I'm like, I'm not ready to show it to Kevin Durant yet. He's like, well, you're going to, so let's go. So it's just, that's what it is. So the more we can get in a realistic version, the better. So.
And, Jeremy, fellow Chicago native. Go Cubbies. This year, right?
Wow, you went with the Cubs on that one, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry. Back row will be quiet now.
Well, you were really one of the breakout characters, early on in the show. So, Ari, he just seems destined to always kind of go for that top job. He has his own agency, and then he runs now a studio head. So kind of what is that top goal for Ari? Because he just keeps chasing and chasing and chasing, it seems.
Yeah, he's ridiculously ambitious, and he will. Nothing can stop him. He believes he's qualified for every job, and I think that he's actually a great studio head. I can't tell you what happens, but ultimately, I could see him going into politics and going ridiculously far. I don't think there's anything that he wouldn't be able to accomplish or think that he could. He would will it to happen no matter what.
Okay, and Doug, what was kind of the challenges of getting this movie made, and was there any fear of it's too late or we've ended it, or?
I mean, I'm a neurotic Jew, so I'm always in fear. But the challenge was the script. Get a script right that could sustain itself for 90 minutes and really, feel like a movie. In the show, I could lean on one character and less on someone, and then the next week switch it around. Everyone had to have a full thing. And like I said, the script was extremely long. I told Warner Brothers, the studio, because they were very worried about it. I said, believe me, we speak fast, and these guys are going to go. So, the movie is obviously not long, even though the script was. But the script was the biggest challenge. And then, these guys' schedules, they all, had different things they were doing and finding, the time to get it in together. But once we got into production, it was pretty smooth sailing.
We're going to start taking audience questions if you guys want to start lining up at the mic.
And so, speaking of the script, oh wow,
He was ready.
They are ready.
3 hours, ready to go.
Wow. So before we get to them, last question from us. So speaking of the script, you decided to bring in, I'll call them villains, the outside forces of pseudo evil that challenge these guys that are, Billy Bob Thornton and Haley Joel Osment as the Larsons, or as Larson and Travis McCreevy. What was the decision to bring in an outside kind of negative force as opposed to going with one of the various challenges that the guys have met up against in previous?
I really wanted to shed a light on kind of what's happening in Hollywood now. The studios really are farming these movies out, and the hedge fund guys and people who don't care about movies at all. And it's been the joke for Hollywood for 20 years that the studios don't care about the movies. Now you've got another layer where it is just, what is it worth? What is each person values? So we just thought that was an interesting way to do it. And, it's a very realistic look at those guys. I mean, because, there are those guys that come in and I've had those words said to me. Like, I don't give a crap whether this movie's good. I only care if it makes money. So, and when you put your heart and soul into it, that's hurtful. And obviously you get it. We all want to make money. That's, the business of it. But you want to make a good movie. That's what you set out to do. So. Yeah.
Question?
Yeah, 2 questions. First one, where's Lloyd? And the second question is, can you talk about your favorite cameo? Each of you, who your favorite person to work with was?
Where's Lloyd today?
Yeah, right now.
We saw him last night at the premiere. We should have brought him, actually. We had to see. I don't know. He actually is probably filming today because he's doing a new TV show. And my favorite cameo in the movie, because it's so bizarre that he's in the same movie as Gary Busey, is Warren Buffett. It was just weird. So and Warren came to the set because he wanted to make a little film with the Entourage guys for the Berkshire Hathaway stockholders meeting. So I said, okay, but you're going to be in the movie now. So and he was great. He was a great sport. So.
Well, actually, I want to follow up with that. There was a short film that was released online with Ari's character kind of transitioning him from the series into the movie. And so was that ever part of the movie? Was it kind of like, do we want to include this, or was it just pulled? Complete
separate thing, but it was great because Cadillac gave us an opportunity to show that kind of bridge. So, and that car doesn't exist, so it was nice. I saw that 4 years ago, and it gave me an inspiration for the movie. But they're not even planning on making it. So.
Hey guys, big fan of the show. Questions for Doug, Jeremy, Adrian. What was more painful to watch? E break his leg on set filming the football scene, or Turtle get beat up by Ronda Rousey? Thanks.
By far seeing Kevin get hurt. Because Jerry was
that wasn't real.
Yeah.
By the way, it's a very Rob.
I still have a metal plate and 8 screws in my leg, so I like to think that was a little bit more.
By the way, this is a very Rob Gronkowski question because Kevin, it was Jerry tackled him, and Kevin said, "Wow, thought I heard something pop." And then 20 minutes later, they tell me that Russell Wilson and Rob Gronkowski are holding ice on his leg. I think they're punking me, and we go upstairs, and Gronkowski wants to shoot him up with a turtle shot to get him back on the field. And he says, "What else do you have to do today?" And Connolly says, "Well, I have a sex scene." And Gronkowski's like, "Well, you can't get shot up if you have sex." And he's like, "I'm not having sex.
Rob, I hate to be the
acting."
one to break this to you, buddy, but we don't actually have sex. I don't actually have to, finish the deal, if you know what I mean. I just have to pretend, But I mean, I knew my leg was broken. I think a few people did. Doug was, I just think, in denial because I know, Doug's one of my buddies, and I know he would never want me working hurt. But I kind of hobbled around for a few days on the broken leg, and we actually, when I did, some people just thought I was exaggerating. So we did the sex scene. Yeah, Jerry, I'm like, Jerry, did you hear? That sounded like a chopstick. Oh, that's what it sounded, literally. And so this girl is on top of me, and I'm like, you have to be careful of my leg, and she's like, rolling her eyes. I'm like, no, my leg is broken. She's like, okay, yeah, no, John, your leg. So it hurt. I mean, I got through it. Thank God we had sunglasses on, and it was a party scene, so I was basically drunk.
And he was on Molly, so he could act as weird as he wanted.
And Doug was like, you really look like you're on drugs. I'm like, oh, I was on plenty of drugs. He's like, all right, well, don't tell anybody because it looks like you can act actually for once in your life.
I did not say that. Never.
Yeah, I just like to say from the back row, I have never seen such a heroic display as Kevin Connolly playing through the whole week on a broken leg. I would have ran crying to mommy.
Yes, he deserves that.
And the truth is, almost any other day, you can shut down for 6 weeks. That day, when you have Gronkowski there, Russell Wilson, Clay Matthews, Bob, there's no way we're getting them all back. Mike Tyson, that you're going to get them all back together. So the fact that Kevin, and again, no one told him to keep going. In fact, I actually kept saying, you need to go to the hospital. And he was like, no, I'm fine. But it did save us. It really did.
But no one knew. It's funny, too, because Ronda, you're around these people. It's Gronkowski, Ronda Rousey. One person tougher than the other. And I don't know. I'm not tough. So I'm like, yeah, I think my leg's broken. And Ronda was like, your leg is not broken. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's broken. She said, Kevin, if your leg was broken, you wouldn't be standing here and we wouldn't be having this conversation. And I went, okay, I guess so.
Roll the cameras.
Total sense. That makes total sense. So, yeah, keep drinking.
Hey, so my question is, towards the end of the series, how much influence did Mark Wahlberg still have on it and in the movie as well?
I mean, Mark, his influence didn't change, and Mark from the beginning kind of let me have the reins, said you can do what you want with my life and do, mix and match it with other people. So Mark's best thing was being a producer, which is, I needed Martin Scorsese, and Mark would call him up and get him, Mark really got this movie made, I ran into him. I kind of thought the show was over, and I ran into him, and he's like, where's the script? Everyone's asking me every press junket I do for the Entourage script. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Is anyone really going to want to make that? And he said, I promise you, write the script and I'll get it made. So Mark has been, the real definition of a producer, but he's never gone like, oh, here's a story, let's put this in there or whatever. So.
Yeah, I think Mark believed in us from the beginning. That was one of the best things he ever did. At least for me. Speaking for me, I mean, I felt very confident at a young age knowing that a guy like Wahlberg believed so much in this and was putting his name on it, and he was behind it. Just felt good, confidence-wise.
And he also gave us the confidence that there was a market for the movie. Like, we didn't know. We were all like, well, but he was like, guys, I know this is going to work, just like he's always done. He's been a great sort of, just influence across the board for the entire run of the show.
And it's interesting from the beginning, the scariest screening I've ever had of this was the pilot at his house with his crew, which is like 30 deep. And, obviously, Adrian is a very different type of actor than Mark is. And, it comes on in this 30, I don't want to call them thugs, but tough guys from Boston. And Adrian comes on, and one of them goes, Maki would kick the crap out of that guy, And, the thing ended, and everyone was like, kind of quiet. And Mark got up, and he was like, and I'm thinking the whole time, like, they hate this. This is a nightmare. This is the worst thing that ever happened, And Mark got up. He goes, we got a huge hit here. I guarantee it. And he's been that kind of supportive and since day one. So.
Hey guys, I'm a huge fan of the show. Saw the movie last night. Fantastic. My question's actually for Jeremy Piven. Ari Gold. So what? Well, two questions actually. First off, what is your favorite Ari Gold insult that you've ever done, show or movie? And then the second question is, can we hug it out?
You want to come up here and hug him for real?
He's approaching. He's approaching.
Adorable.
The gift that keeps giving.
How much do you hate Doug for that? Like, do you love him? Do you hate him? Like,
Oh no, it's all good. I mean, yeah, that was one of those moments where Kevin and I were very early on at the end of a scene, and they didn't cut, so we just kind of kept going, and then here we are, 11 years later, and people are asking to hug me, so it's fantastic.
At least they say to me, "Let's hug it out, you little bitch."
Yeah.
Get over here and hug it out, you little bitch. Literally once a day, somebody yells at me, like outside of their car window. I'm like, how you doing? Nice to meet June 3rd.
As far as I almost want to ask you guys what your favorite Ari Gold insult was.
I don't think we can say it.
I
am 5 and I cannot say one.
Well, if you saw Jeremy as Ari Gold on CNBC last week saying it's anal night at the Gold's house on CNBC, which was a line from season 1, maybe the pilot even. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but
well, they asked. Doug wrote a faux Ari Gold autobiography called "Rules to Rule By," and I went out to promote it, and I was obligated, literally contractually obligated, I swear to God, to show up as Ari Gold, and I had my publicist tell all these people, like, we're on live television, you guys know that if I show up as this character, we're on the Today Show, I know you're live, but how am I going to play Ari Gold without swearing? I mean, it would be like a UFC fighter without, striking. You have to get it. And sure enough, like every show I went on, I just started swearing, and people were furious. I had to apologize to the Today Show. I just kept screaming, "Can I swear here, by the way?" Yeah. I mean, I kept, like, at one point, it was like a hockey fight where you pull the jersey over to the other guy's head and you just keep swinging. Like, I just kept screaming, "Wrap it the fuck up," on live television. And then I snapped out of it and realized, my God, what has been happening?
So, Doug, what's the balance of that? Because some of the stuff he says is just, it's so funny, but it's so crazy. Is that why it works? Because it's just completely crazy stuff?
I've never, ever censored it, and the truth is, it is a special actor who can say, because I mean, again, most of the lines are written, and I've tried to say them myself, and if I said them, they would be, it'd be horrifying. But Jeremy has an intangible, like I said, to be a lovable asshole. And at the end of the day, that he loves Lloyd, and that he has his back, the same way these guys do.
And also, too, to Rex's credit, Rex is tough as nails, man. You're not going to hurt his feelings at all. So, I mean, like Jeremy will say that he will run it by Rex in the morning and ask him if it's okay if I talk about things getting squirted on your face or whatnot. and Rex really doesn't care, right? He's just like tough as nails, Rex.
Yeah, he was always up for it. He found it funny. Nothing fazed him whatsoever. So it made it a little bit easier. But there would be times where I would read the script and just think, there's no coming back from this. I will turn off everyone that has ever watched the show. And so that was our challenge when it was really fun.
This question's for Jeremy as well. You mentioned that you came from an improv background. So I was wondering, what were the inspirations, if any at all, for the Ari Gold character?
Well, as Doug was saying earlier, I mean, Mark Wahlberg is the reason why we're all here. And it's loosely based on his world, and Ari Emanuel is his agent. It's no secret. And Ari Emanuel is a incredibly powerful agent. Started William Morris and then started Endeavor, bought William Morris, just took over IMG. He's taken over the world, and he is a fast-talking shark who is incredibly abrasive and is brilliant and prolific in what he does and has ADD and all these wonderfully beautiful qualities that you see in the fictional character. And I have heard that in the middle of business calls, he'll just go, "You want me to be the guy from TV? You want to be the guy from the show? I'll be the guy from the show. You want to be the guy from the show?" And I remember I was with him in Vegas one time. We were sitting there, and he said to the waitress, "I'm the real Ari. You know I'm the real Ari." And I'm like, "She doesn't even know who the real Ari is. Stop saying that. She doesn't have cable. So it looks like you're insane. Stop saying that."
And so we're gonna wrap it up here with a question, last question. So, what are your guys' favorite kind of character moments from either the series or the movie, and just kind of what you're most proud of about the entire thing?
Well, I mean, for me, we were able to do things as a production crew that TV shows at the time weren't doing. I mean, when we did the Sundance episode, we were there shooting at Sundance, and nobody really knew who any of us were. I mean, Jeremy has been around. Jeremy's been in a bunch of movies, so people knew who Jeremy was. But for the four guys, we were just kind of walking around. We looked like a little indie, so we were stealing shots at Sundance, and then we did the same thing at the Cannes Film Festival and the U2 concert and the Laker games. So for me, the best part of the experiences, and I'm sure you guys will agree to a certain extent, has been sort of the live sort of shooting and some of the things that, as a production, the whole team effort we were able to pull off.
For me, we kind of this, and credit to Doug on this too, like the style of the walk and talk, which is something that we've done on this show since the beginning, where it's a 3 or 4 page scene, and it's either 4 or 5 of us in the actual scene, and it's one camera, one shot, no cuts, and it has a feeling like a play almost, because you can get 3/4 of the way through the scene, one little screw up, and you're going back to one to start again. So that always gave a new kind of energy to a scene. And you also know if you knock it out and everyone's on top of their game, you get to go home early, which is always kind of fun. But no, seriously, like that added so much to the show. At first, I'd never experienced anything like that. And like just having no close-ups or nothing, like sharing the frame with 4 guys, and still the scene is just as equally funny, if not even more funny, was always pretty cool to do.
There's a misperception that this show is only a guy's show and now a guy's movie, but that's in fact not true. It's not just a bunch of uncouth, crude guys. There's a lot of heart to this show, and I think a lot of women really respond to it. And there's a moment.
We've got some fans in the audience.
There we go.
And by the way, women can be quite crude as well. But there are moments in this movie, and one in particular, where I literally tear up. It's so touching and beautiful the way these guys treat each other and how they have each other's back. And I really love that about the show. It's got so much dynamic and so much depth, and also just a lot of superficial fun.
Jeremy?
God, I don't even know where to start, because it's, there's... You throw yourself into every scene in every episode, every season. So, yeah, I think it would actually be ultimately, I think the movie is better than anything. It's like the culmination of everything we've ever done. And I don't know if Doug knew when he was writing, for instance, that last episode, that he was planting the seeds to give, for instance, Ari this conundrum, to be the king of Hollywood, or to forget it all and prove himself to his wife that she means the world to him. But he basically planted the seeds perfectly for the movie. And I think the movie is really about something, and it is a male fantasy show, but you won't see that coming, that it really is about loyalty and friendship, and then ultimately family and all these great things. So to do that, to pull it off, and to make it funny and entertaining, and then to sit with audiences and watch them laugh and really get it and be with it, that's really gratifying.
What about you, Doug? Because you've just seen the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, not to be like corny, the stuff with my son, Jeremy, I think Jeremy said that my son, when he was 5, should play his son. And he's not an actor. I'm not trying to turn him into, one of these crazy kids. But so the only thing he's done is this. But those moments on the set, and basically that he's grown up with these guys, it's not quite boyhood, but, it's been great to watch.
Not quite, no.
And even... And honestly, to watch him in the movie, I don't know if you saw him last night, but I mean, he got a, you know, the screenings I've been to, he got a huge laugh, and it makes me very happy. So.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you guys. Thanks for making us feel welcome.
You guys, the movie's out June 3rd, and
Keep it off the please keep that shout off the internet.
All right, thank you guys.